Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and let's take 3 fabrics and turn it into a wall hanging. And this wall hanging is going to have a little bit of a modern twist to it, but you can make it any size you want. I want to use a fabric that reads like a solid, which will make it a little bit more modern looking. This fabric is from Timeless Treasures. It has these tiny little triangles on it. We're going to need a background, which I have a very light gray, a dark gray, and a red. And this red is going to be that kicker fabric that you're going to notice first. I'm going to have one strip cut the width of the fabric at 2.5 inches with the red, and one width cut at 4.5 inches, cut in that light gray fabric, which is the background fabric. I'm going to sew these 2 strips together. Once this is stitched down, press the seam towards the red. You will then take this and cut this into segments of 2.5 inches, and you need 11 of these units. From the same background fabric, cut 13 widths of fabric at 2.5 inches. From the 13 strips, cut 12 pieces at 26.5 inches. So you'll have one left over and all the ends. Those ends we're going to use and cut the next measurements. From the ends, we are going to be able to cut some different strip lengths. We're going to need 1 at 6.5 inches, 3 at 8.5 inches, 3 at 10.5 inches, 3 at 12.5 inches, and 1 at 14.5 inches. Now if your strips are 44 inches, you will only need 12 strips. So you can cut 12 to start with. If the strips are a little small, you will need that 13th one. From the dark gray, we need to cut a set of strips that equal the same as these. Out of 4 dark gray strips at 2.5 inches, I was able to get 1 at 6.5 inches, 3 at 8.5 inches, 3 at 10.5 inches, 3 at 12.5 inches, and 1 at 14.5 inches. All of these have the common measurement of 2.5 inches. You will have 11 of these strips, and they will go on the 11 of these strips. So each one is going to be sewn on. And press the seams going towards the dark. When these strips are sewn together, we're going to add on that light background onto the red side. Each one of these strips is going to be finished at 26.5 inches. So the shortest one is going to go on the longest one. Then we have the 3 at 8.5 inches, the 3 at 10.5 inches, 3 more at 12.5 inches, and the last one at 14.5 inches. So when all of these are sewn together, they will equal a 26.5 inch strip, which is going to work with our 26.5 inch strips. So sew them on and press them towards the red. So I've kept the stacks all together. I have one of the smaller white and one of the larger white, and then the sizes go down. Each of these have the stacks of 3. Those nice big center pieces are going to go right in between when we sew them together. But we have some extras, so we're going to be able to make this go in a pathway. And our eye is going to follow the red. It is very effective if we keep them so that they're only 1 square off. I'm going to use the darkest gray to help keep me in line. The first one I want to start with is the one where we started with that piece at 8.5 inches. So I'm going to move that aside. That is going to be the first of my cascade. I'm going to start with 1 solid and that 8.5 inch. The next one's going to be a 10.5, then a 12.5 and a white, and then that one that started at that 14.5. So I have my line coming down. Now I want my line to come into the other direction. So I'm going to be able to take the next one up and bring it down, placing the white in between. I did this one last, so I'm going to do this one next and place it along the bottom. Another row of white, then take that one more from the top and put it down. You can see how this is now starting to make a path. Now you can choose the path any way you want. You can add as many pieces as you want and change your measurements as long as each piece equals that 26.5 inches. So I'm going to continue to lay these out, and I'm just going to sew all of those rows together, keeping these edges straight. You can lay them out first without the white strips in between, and that will definitely give you the visualization of how those blocks are going to move. As you go along, you can actually change the direction of the gray just by turning a couple of the strips. The whole idea is for the red to stay in a row, so they're only off by one piece. If you have one that has the larger space, you can see that you don't have that cascading look. So lay it out first the way that you like it, and then sew in each of the white strips. Now if you cut more and put more together, you're going to be able to just duplicate this and make a very, very long piece. I'm going to take these to the machine and sew in my background strips in between each of these strips. The quilt is now 26.5 inches by 46.5 inches, because each of these strips now equal 2 inches. Take the seams and press them towards the red and the gray, and that will leave those light colored backgrounds without any fabric behind them. And you can see where your eye really follows that red dot. The background all blends in, but you can really see how those red dots will cascade all the way down. You now have one wall hanging done. And it's amazing when you're looking at it in one direction how it looks. Turn it in the other direction, it looks slightly different. Horizontal and vertical, it always looks a little different. With the three solid looking colors, it really does have a modern twist to it. However, you could make this in any fabric. If it was a soft paisley, it would have a totally different look. Quick and easy, you can make it any length you want. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, come on back. Let's see what we're sewing next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.